She's right here.
So we have to be really quiet.
Oh, well, I have my cookie in it, but it's right here.
It's not me too.
Well, you have to use my napkin. First introduction.
You're welcome. Well, welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. You have an agenda in front of you, but first, let me kind of go over a few of the logistics. There are microphones around, and we are aware, state board members, anytime you guys get together, you have an open access issue where it needs to be streamed. So for the House board members, that's what's going on. So if everyone would take the opportunity when they have conversation to use the microphone so they can be heard. The camera is right back there. Mackenzie is taking care of that. She and Sarah have worked on it for a while, not Sarah Morrison, Sarah Bunch. And I would like to first thank Katie for putting this room, making this room available, and for Mackenzie and for Sarah working to put all this together. Thank you guys very much.
I also want to echo Wayne's thanks to all of our two teams who have really persevered to find a room that works for our purposes. Live streaming sometimes be a challenge, but I told Wayne the one thing that I regret about today is that we didn't think through it. When I think about the importance of connecting with superintendents for our board, I mean, it is just mission critical. So I hope many of you superintendents that are in the room have seen our board members at some meetings, know that they are so interested in your thoughts, what you're observing in your schools, how we can work more closely together. So I really think today, as Wayne said, is really just a chance for us to come together, have more or less informal conversation about the things that are on your minds, respectively. And I want to commit to making this a regular thing, at least annually. We should be bringing our boards together. So I'm really grateful that it was something that we were able to pull off, especially while Wayne is still in this position. We've worked so closely over the years. So appreciate everybody's time, and I think we should go around and do some introductions first before we sort of open the floor. So I think we both introduce ourselves, but then we'll go this way and start with Philly.
And I'm Phil Rothman, chairman of the state board from the first district, eastern part of the state, good part of the state. Got to be here to agree with that.
Gary Lilly, director of schools for superintendent.
Mike Edwards, member of the board, executive director of I live in Austin.
Shelton Fox, director of schools in Johnson.
Danny Weeks, director of schools in Dixon County.
I'm on the state board, and Dylan Miller, director of schools for Athens City. Allison James, that board member for this. Samuel Hardler, superintendent for Kevin Spanish.
I'm Jay Rowland. I'm on staff with the state board. I'm the coordinator of summer school.
Spencer Glazek, I'm a research associate with the state board.
Sarah Bunch, communications director for TOS.
Mackenzie Manning, communications, all things for state board. And if y'all don't mind trying to speak into the mic, that would be great. Thank you, if you can.
Hit the button that will go to green. Circle at the bottom is red. Now turn green.
Lee Cummins, and I'm policy and research analyst at the state board.
Elizabeth Taylor, general counsel for the state board.
Bill O'Donnell, TEA.
Dalton Gray, TEA.
Vicki Berger, administrative assistant at the state board.
Casey Grossman, administrative assistant.
Sheila Lane, TOS.
Susie Benefield, office manager at TOS.
Angie Sanders, federal programs coordinator for the state board. Hope Stovall, director of our schools for the state board.
Scott Winstead, director of Maryville City. Jason Vance, director of Loudoun County.
John Atkin, director of Collierville.
Randy Frazier, director of Wheaton County.
Susan Bunch, director of Lexington. Wendy Tucker, state board member of District 7. I'm sorry. I know where I live, Williamson County. LaDonna Falls, director of schools. Lillian Micro, District 60, Melvin Johnson. District 6, also vice chairman. And Lee Pauls. Absolutely. Diane Elmer, director of schools. Megan Bailey, attorney Durham Waller, but I represent Paul. And I'm just going to take a minute to recognize Manny is taking care of all of this. So while you will never see her, you need to be very grateful for her. Very much so.
Good afternoon, Lord Ferguson, representing District 4, District 4, Rutherford County, Grand Rapids.
Bill Hayes, director of Lincoln County.
Great, so now that we know who's in the room, I think honestly, it really is just about open conversation and kind of get things going. I'll just mention one policy consideration that came up this morning. We were fortunate enough to go to Ravenwood High School Mike Looney helped arrange a school visit for us. That's something that as a board, we really try to get into schools as often as we can, but particularly when we come together on days like this for a workshop and a meeting, I think it's just so important to ground the conversation and the student experience and the school experience. So we were at Ravenwood this morning, and at the end of the visit, we had a student panel that we were talking with. One of the questions that came up was around the role of the school counselor. And high school like Ravenwood, you've got a lot of high achieving students who are going places. They have a robust CTE program that's kind of evolved in the school, but the question was sort of what is the role of the school counselor and how do they assist with the career and college counseling from freshman year to senior year. And the conversation, really Mike contributed to the conversation, was around the fact that the student numbers, the ratio was really high. And so the students don't have a lot of time with their counselors because of the fact that they're stretched so thin. So I know that's a policy that the board's been looking at really carefully. It's been something that we talked with many of you about over the course of a couple of readings on that policy. But that's just one that I'd love to hear other opinions in terms of where that policy stands, how you see it working or not working for you, if there are some places that we should be looking at as a board. Now my husband's got his thoughts on this.
I would like to share just a little bit, and I do appreciate, I know y'all looked at the counseling policy a lot this year, and you actually adopted it on first and second reading, and then we're willing to open it back up for further discussion and future and more consideration, and certainly appreciate that. And one change that we also appreciate is delay in implementation for a year, 2018-19. And I know the second reading that's coming up on Friday does include some changes from first reading and tweak the language regarding the responsibilities of counselors with regard to testing coordinators. And again, that's, I think the ultimate goal of creating the counseling policy is certainly admirable, and what's something we need to have clear guidance on both the counselors from the mental health standpoint of what they ought to be providing students, but also at the high school level, especially on their responsibility involved in working with students on career counseling and that sort of thing. But I think there's a couple of issues I want to discuss with that. Is one size fits all. It's really not applicable in this area. I mean, we provide in Maryville, a lot of our mental health counseling is actually contracted out. It's not the guidance counselor that we expect to do that one-on-one counseling with our students, especially in the younger grades. That's often contracted out to third-party vendors. And I know a lot of other school systems in the state do the same with Helen Austin Mass or some of the organizations. And so when you say you have to have that 80%, 20% divide, 80% with kids, that may look different if you're bringing in outside counselors and other experts to provide some of the counseling. So, having a policy that says this is our expectation for what kids will receive, and I think is great. How we provide that to the kids, I think more flexibility there so that we can make that local decision would be something we would certainly prefer. And then when we talk about the 20%, the 80% of the kids, basically 20% for you are working on the fair share responsibilities and other administrative type things. I think that's where, and actually, I look out as counselors, and I think a lot of my daughter is in school to be a counselor. So it's nothing about how we use our counselors, and we actually are in full compliance with the 80-20 split in Maryville. But I think getting into the 20% and specifying that they will do this or they can't do that becomes more of a working condition policy than it's like having a social studies standards on Fridays you're going to consider, and it spells out what social studies teachers will teach and what our kids are responsible for. If we had language in there that said that social studies teachers won't do bus duty, or that they won't have more than 2 course preparations in a semester, I would view that language much like many directors are viewing this language. When we say counselors can't do this or can't do that, we've got to figure out a way. And then the policy, it now says in the new policy that the state board will come in, the department will provide guidance on how we will reassign those duties to other people and other folks in the building. And again, that's quite a stretch. I feel from the state board to reach into the school level and say, we're going to use the counselor 80-20, and then here's what you can and can't do with that 20%.
I agree that I found that it's sort of unique that we were calling out, restrictions on guidance when we really don't put restrictions on other faculty members. But I don't, so what would be, going back to the 80-20, if we were, if we're not going to, we shouldn't put restrictions on other faculty, the whole thing is shut down. So what would be the actual for the percentage of extracurricular assignments? I don't think we ought to put restrictions.
Well, and I think, you know, my first choice would be just tell us what you want, and what those standards are, and we determine, you know, what percent we would need to use employees to reach that. If the board desires to establish those percentages, I think the 80-20 split seems reasonable, at least to my principals and counselors. That seems to be a reasonable split. I think it's the language where we get into that appropriate letter G under the policy, appropriate school counseling activities. You know, at the end of the 80-20 discussion and what we want them to do, then it says, it's basically those 4 bullets under G where there's specificity about what's allowed and what's not allowed in that 20%. Because I think that would be kind of the crust of my discussion is what we're saying in that language there.
So it appears to me that, well, this is an opinion, it's my personal opinion, that career counseling has got to be up there. Because there's so much that really now needs to happen before a kid even gets to high school, for 2,000 jobs. When I look at the ratio of students out, I ain't know what, there's no way in man hours that's even going to get it. So I look at the 3 legs, 3 areas where that's going to be done with salary. So I understand what you're saying. I understand exactly what you guys have to do, principles you want to do. I just think that ratio is if they're going to do it now.
If I could interject one thing, and I apologize if I'm telling everybody something that they already know, but I'm learning in Nashville not to assume everybody has the same information. A lot of the conversations that I have on the Hill with legislators around funding, and I've been in some with Nathan in the back around the same topic. When BEP formula generates funds for a local school district, there are many programs that you would expect every school has that are not even part of that one, which means 100% of that program is funded with local funds. CTE programs, for example, theater teachers. You guys could come up with lots of others that aren't even in the BEP that everybody understands is part of a well-rounded curriculum. The larger the school system, the more wiggle room they might have in their budget to add some of these positions, but they also have to farm out. Nobody has singular responsibilities. They're trying to be as efficient as they can with those positions. So one thing that I think we would want to keep in mind is as we drill down and dictate specific responsibilities for an individual, whether they were in the BEP form or whether they weren't, that there are likely in school systems many other responsibilities that we might not think about. The problem, that they could likely be specific to one district or a small number of districts that have to be dealt with local funds, and we wouldn't want a policy to impact whatever that looked like in the district, where we might take services or programs away from a student. And some of the city superintendents, I mean, does that make sense?
So, when I was trying to get about it, the issue was not whether a counselor could be involved in testing. That a counselor could not be administrator, coordinator. Understanding that means absolutely nothing. Distinction, I know I do. But is that where the real heartburn is, or is it a lot longer?
I'll try to answer John Anthony Tiger. I think it's broader than that. I think Wayne stated it, Mike said it. I think the concern that we see with policy is governing how we allocate or staff positions. And when a policy is far reaching, and when it's that far reaching, telling us how we can staff positions that we are maybe funding, as Wayne said, locally, and putting those restrictions on how we can handle our finances and our positions. I think that's probably the broader piece of it for a lot of us.
All right, this is my last question.
You can answer.
So if, and I know all these school districts are different, but if a guidance counselor is not the coordinator for testing, who likely is?
Same, that's what I'm gonna say.
I appreciate the thought process about trying to make sure that we've got guidance counselors appropriated in regard to the time so that kids can get the maximum amount of services. But really, if we take that responsibility away from guidance counselors, I agree, like with Dr. Lynch, my assistant principal is going to do it, so my guidance counselor will pick up some things my assistant principal was going to do. So, I mean, it's almost a shell game in order to try to accommodate all the things that you got to accommodate in the high school and do it appropriately so kids can have those services.
And I would say this, if the goal is increase for career counseling, but what that looks like in Hamilton County right now, we have a model where our teachers in high school are actually going out to direct lecture. And so, in our local community, our greatest counselors are our teachers. Our counselors, some of our counselors, most of our counselors have been out. So the goal is to provide career counseling for our students. And we've got a much better, effective way to counsel students about what our students are.
That is something personally. I'm sure that it is not something of the old.
But Hamilton County, that is the goal. Our board has said to me, we want to have an increase in career counseling, and how we're going to do that.
The policy, I just want to say, when the policy was brought forward, the changes in the standards, it was about giving students more access to guidance counselors who could do, in fact, fill the position that they really intended to do when they entered that role. That's what they wanted to do. So the intention of the conversations I had with the technical education and staff at the department level, it was about making sure that the standards were allowed and provide that opportunity, that guidance counselor to do exactly that. Now, of course, that was in the details, and you have to make it work in this is another thing. But to your point, Mr. Lynch, in your county, we're doing similar things in the Upper Cumberland, and in my day job, I work with school districts, higher ed and employers, and making sure that teachers who are spending more time Ravenwood High School, that's where the help needs to go, and that's certainly a solution, but not every school can afford to provide that externship opportunity either. So we have a real challenge at the board level, at the department level, the school districts, and I know, I think we all recognize that. So it's coming to a reasonable solution that's going to work for everybody, but if students aren't getting what they need, because we all kind of look back when we were in school, we didn't get the kind of guidance that we needed, and we went on a path, a direction in our lives that maybe didn't lead to where we need to be led. And if you have great education and you have all the basic academics to land on, but that's not true for everybody. And we do want to raise the bar for every student, equitable access for all students. We all know that's why you're here, that's why we're here, so every student, but can't figure it out by themselves. And you're working hard, we know that. They have to make a difference with your staff, for your students, et cetera. So how do we figure this out together? We want to hear more about those direct solutions, because we believe that you're working hard, we believe we're trying to do the right things, and we don't want to be in silos, that's for sure. But I think we can work from other directors, because it's still pragmatic. It takes money, doesn't it? You have more money. And I think the funding formula, correctly, provides for counseling, but I mean, doesn't it provide for some of that, but not all of it? That's part of the challenge. And the local doesn't always give you the money you need, right? And the directors in the other Cumberland said, they're being mandated, of course, it's local, provide that shortfall, then there's some times that it's so poor, they're going to have to money. The tax base is so low, so it's not easy. When I say all that to say, I don't have the answer, but I think perhaps coming together and talking on one and collaborating. My 2 cents worth.
Well, and having spoken to a lot of directors over the last several months and having started life as a CPE, here's a perspective that I would offer everybody to think about. I think if we send a card around right now and says, what's career counseling look like? Everybody's going to have a little bit of a different picture. And quite honestly, in the last 10 years, it's changed quite a bit from what it might look like. There are some components of what that means that would be similar in every school district. But I think it's probably worth looking at our particular time and space, what we want career counseling to look like. Is it a K-12 challenge, or is it a high school challenge? And then look at what we want every district to have access to, because we all agree that it's a component of what we want schools and children to have, but we really don't define or set standards for what that looks like, or give resources for what that looks like. I know some school districts that are in cities that have large industry presence. That industry sends and they talk about what it looks like in that plant, and they get something in that district that's very different from what they might get in a rural district with no industry. So I think what I would throw in from conversations with other districts is to just back up a little bit and think broadly about what we really want that career counseling experience to look like, and see if we have the tools in place, and if not, what would it take to do that? Welcome, Commissioner.
We just started sort of a policy conversation about things that are online, and of course, I mentioned that came up this morning when we were on a school visit at Ravenwood, where we talked about the funding model and sort of the specifications of the current policies. It's still too prescriptive. What's the right person to be in the state policy? We don't have to stop with this topic. I know I started with a light one, but and I'll just say another thing I'm interested to hear about is around social studies. On the social studies standards, areas that we've heard a lot of sort of input around sort of how history, geography is embedded, certainly how the progression across grades looks. I don't know how much of a chance you had to look at social studies standards or readiness switch years, but certainly that's another area that our board would benefit. So they'll be coming on first reading tomorrow, and we've extended the public input for social studies longer than we did for any of the other subjects because there was such a sort of outpouring of public comments. We did 2 review periods. We had our standards recommendation committee multiple times more than other SRCs had met for the other standards. And so I think while no set of standards is ever perfect, I would say the social studies standards have had more time, more attention, more input, and on the balance, the highest sort of positive response rate on the current standards that we've seen from any good academic areas. So I think that all feels good. I mean, again, no standards are ever perfect. I'm sure there's going to be room to improve them, but I think on the whole, a strong product. Certainly other topics too. I mean, I think, again, this is an informal, open conversation, things that are on your mind as a board, either board, the cost board or our state board.
To put it another way, this is a really good time to rant and rave.
Or get positive solutions for things that are not working.
Well, there's not.
Constructive input. Welcome, Candace. Thank you for joining.
I need to throw out a topic.
I was actually hearing things across the field, other things that you've been hearing from superintendents that might be helpful to this conversation.
Well, you were talking about counseling, and so I would love to get additional feedback from this group around how you're currently using your counselors based on standard work around counseling and recommendations. I mean, we've heard from you around the possible problematic issues that might arise if you are completely making a transition from your counselor now not being your assessment coordinator or assessment director anymore. And we've been very clear that the counselor will have assessment responsibilities to be a small percentage of that person's in terms of the logistics. Certainly, a counselor has lots of responsibility on helping interpret assessments and work with the assessment programming. So I would love the board particularly to hear feedback that maybe you already are hearing on that front, things that you would like to share. We've already talked about all of that.
We've had a good content, and there may be more that others haven't shared yet in terms of sort of how they see it out. I think what we've heard primarily is that the policy as it currently stands feels still too prescriptive to some folks in the room. So.
Commissioner, one of the questions, one of the statements that made is that we seem to be putting restrictions on one discipline, the guidance counselor in school, that we would not put on other personnel. We're saying, hey, can and cannot do this, and this, but we would never think about doing that. And that logic.
If I could respond, and this is what we've heard from the field, particularly from the counselors, that they did have a bit more of a vague job description in terms of what they were to do, and it's very regular across districts. And I think probably superintendents and would agree with that. You have defined what those boundaries are and what that job description looks like. And so based on that feedback and what we know about the importance of the counselor in meeting certain goals that we have as a state, that there was a reason why we needed to give more guidance and boundaries to that. But that was more from the counselors themselves, feeling like they did not have clarity on this is what I thought I would be doing, but I'm doing a lot of testing coordination. Wasn't necessarily originally what I intended to be when I became a counselor. And certainly our response is, well, you're always going to have some responsibility with testing. That is part of a core competency for a counselor. But if that is 90% of what you're doing, then there would be an opportunity for us to redefine on the boundaries that should be set in place.
Mr. Everett, I appreciate your comments. I come from the perspective of a suburban district. We're the 22nd largest district. I know a high school that has 1,700 students. So the high school that has 1,700 students, I've taken, I have 5 counselors. So, it's not unusual for one of those counselors to be assigned assign the full responsibility for testing. And my other, I have a career counselor there, and I have a senior counselor that helps students transition to college and get scholarships and make sure one of the requirements are met and all those kind of things. So to say that no counselor could be the testing coordinator, again, I'm taking local dollars and my local dollars to fund that position, and you place restrictions on it, so they restrict the sense, and we do real dollars to the county. In the strictest sense, I could not assign that person full-time duties as testing coordinator. And so again, seeing that flexibility and understanding that, as we would at school, be school administrators, there are things that school administrators don't want to do, don't need to do, shouldn't be doing as instructional leaders. That's part of the job. And so to John said, to reach down and tell people what people can do in their buildings, it makes it difficult to staff and control those positions. And, I don't know what I would do in a situation like that if you said nobody can be testing.
I would respond in two different ways. One, certainly you have a responsibility over the schools that you lead and have that flexibility. Probably wouldn't call that person a school counselor if they were 100% of their duties, 90% of their duties doing test coordination. I would hire them in a completely different role and really define it as that role. I think the challenge is what school counselor has tended to mean in the past and how our standards are written. They are really around the majority of your responsibility supporting and advising. And if that is not what the majority of your time is being spent on, there will be a reason why you might want to redefine the name of that role, what that role is. And so that's where we could probably work, particularly with this now on that. The other place I would respond is when we did create these boundaries, there's a lot of flexibility with it. And I think we have the opportunity to work directly with you if we know your specific concerns. Certainly, we came back with an amendment to those original recommendations based on feedback we heard from some of you. And you particularly, we had conversations with around, we need to have more clarity on testing is still a responsibility of you as an administrator, you as a counselor. But again, if that is 90, 80, 100% of what you're doing, probably not the right term or the right role based on the standards that we have for that. But great comments, and we did try to come back with some additional clarification.
Really, I think this is now the education system. And I would say I spent 10 years as a school counselor, loved it, and then I spent 7 years as a principal, so I saw both sides of it. Currently, I don't have assistant principals in my school. And so I was just making a list here when we look at what we as a principals assign out to the buildings. Most of my schools that we teachers are the safety. We have a family engagement. Maybe some of my schools that have been student counselor, maybe in those school counselor might do assessment, but we might include that, those coordinations. My Title I teacher serves in some of those, my RTI coordinator is also a different teacher who serves that, my RTIB coordinator. Now, as we're addressing chronic absenteeism and fluency a little more closely, we actually have a really different coordinator. So I'm saying all that to say that specifying that certain positions can't do something because I can, as a principal, if we don't have somebody's going to do those roles. And I know as a school counselor, and again, I'm a high school fall testing, spring testing, but in our pre-K world, the assessment is big in a certain time. And it makes sense for me as a school counselor because think about it, your school testing is
talking and going back to the roles of individuals, particularly administrative staff. You know, had enough birthdays, you remember pre-TCAP, and guidance counselors weren't involved in assessment at all. They really were just guidance counselors. But as accountability has changed very, very much, well, those duties fell on the existing staff. I think back to when teacher evaluation changed, and we needed more personnel to implement it in the manner that it was prescribed, and that then fell on your administrative staff that didn't do that. I don't know what an appropriate administrative staff looks like in a modern school today, but I know what our formula and what our structure looks like is kind of evolved from what it did 20 years ago. And I think the challenge that we all need to think about is that really the right model? Are we really funding the right positions, or what is it that we want our kids to look like? I'll never forget struggling with the evaluation component of it. I needed that administrator that was going to be evaluating the teachers to be more of an academic expert and a good teaching expert, what good classroom administration looked like than ever before. And everybody knows, for the most part, an assistant principal 15 years ago was a disciplinarian. That's what they were, or an athletic director. But now we don't need an assistant principal that does just that. We need an assistant principal that's an academic leader. And just like we need principals, it looks different. So I would like to make sure that everybody had a little peripheral vision on, while we're talking about a guidance counselor's position, every administrator's position has broadened so much in what the expectations are. If we're really going to give our students a well-rounded, individualized academic experience, so that at some point when we talk about how we want to fund what our model K-12 environment looks like, we don't just fall back on there's a principal, an assistant principal, a guidance counselor, bookkeeper, which is what we do because that's what we've done.
I think we're at the time, I think we're at the time that no matter what our standards say about our position, Susie Bunch, Lexington City, no matter what our standards say about our position, no matter what our job description says about our position, on any given day, we're out of standard and we're out of description, no matter what we do. Because we are we're cross-trained, pick up the slack when someone is sick, when someone is overloaded. We do that at the central office. We do that at every one of our schools. So on any given day, a counselor may pick up the slack for an assistant principal. An assistant principal may pick up the slack for a guidance counselor. A principal may pick up the slack for either one of those. And to tie our hands with percentages to do a thing or two, we can't operate that way. I may be, as a superintendent, I may be in a third grade classroom for half of a morning teaching a science class and a social studies class because we can't find enough substitute teachers. And that's okay, because I come to the rescue because I can do it. And it helps to lighten someone else's load. The assistant principal, the social worker, any of us will do what we need to do to fill that need. I do believe there are probably 10% of our school systems in the state who may need to be monitored because their counselors are put upon to do things that they probably don't need to be doing. But for the most part, the 90% of us are doing it correctly, and the standards and those percentages are going to hurt us more than they're going to help us.
So, I think you just hit on something that maybe it's Sarah's positive for keeping us opposed. Negative.
Now, Mike, you and I used to be on the same page a long time ago. The diploma project, don't you forget that.
That was back before.
Yeah.
Before they do.
So, if in fact there is where lies the problem, and others can disagree with it, but there's, what would be an appropriate policy to adopt to protect the 90 that have to have the latitude against the 10% that are?
I don't think you need an 80-20, a 90-10% of the time.
But what would, because I think we do know that does occur. A lot of these people are using utility poles.
I think you're probably right. I think standards for any position in the education field are necessary. But to tie those standards to what has to happen during the day or percentage of time hurts us all, no matter what the position is.
I think it's like what Mike said earlier, employees have to know. You know, if you're providing an account, let it show you how to do it. Whether it's tell them off the man here, someone else, whatever. The goal is to provide counseling. There's a multitude of ways to do it. And is that the goal of the policy?
And I think all of us could send to the state board or to the commissioner, we could write a paper and outline how each of us provide counseling, from career counseling to general counseling to mental health counseling from within our building, and using efforts from outside our building to go to meet the standards and go above and beyond those standards every week. Or is it to address that 10% that's not doing it correctly?
Trade out here, but I think there's not a singular role, right, is the first thing. Is that, yeah, I think as Candace was saying, part of the goal certainly is to make sure that school counselors are utilized to their fullest potential in terms of their role in providing counseling. But I do think the other point is a good one, in that, and we heard this at Ravenwood today, that, you know, the students get a lot of their counseling on career and college through their teachers, because that's what they see every day. So I think it's not that there's one person in the building that should be responsible for counseling. I do think there's more we could do at the state level to probably highlight, I know, the event that our board is actually our junior group, I guess, that sort of start to look at some of the really promising practices that we see across the state around how you serve students and those sort of more broad, multiple staff member kind of models. I think that's important. And I do think, I mean, part of being the state board and having policies is to sort of make sure that, you know, people are trying to do the right things by students where they, you know, may not be. So I think there is some element of making sure that school counselors are really able to fulfill their part of that role. But I do think it's a little bit like Goldilocks, and we have to really try to find that sweet spot in terms of tight loose. And I think, as Candace was saying, in partnership with the teams of the department, we tried to make some of those adjustments. Here today that we may not have gone far enough, and we may need to look again. But I think that was certainly the intent, was to sort of soften what initially felt, I think, too hard and too prescriptive. You know, I think the only other thing to note about counselors is that, unlike other positions, there is a law that starts to prescribe some of this. So again, most of our board policies are following laws. We could talk about the uniform grading policy, which I know another sticking point in terms of dual enrollment and AP. It's another case where our hands are tied by the law in terms of that collapse of the two types of post-secondary programs. So I don't know, Candace, if you have other thoughts to add, but.
No, I mean, to all the comments that were made, I think we all pitch in and jump in whenever needed. That certainly was not the intent, was to somehow tie your hands. I think the intent was to try to interpret law and put policies around it. We came back with the amendment after we heard from you that all caps not, there was a shall not. You may remember in the original language, the not was in all caps. I don't know if you put that in, that was amazing. And so we came back and really tried to clarify that shall not was really overstepping what the intent was, and tried to make that clarification. And you certainly pointed that out to us, and we saw that we believe school counselors should do. And the intent is really to set that tone and say, let's be realistic around, are they working with students? Are they getting opportunities to advise students? But absolutely, like all of us, we pitch in on lots of things that weren't necessarily ever in the job description. So we certainly aren't debating that. If there is a way though that you have a specific way we could rethink some of the wording, we are happy to sit down and talk through that. Say, does it get to the intent that it was meant? And we can bring it back to the board. I think the board has been very clear, and tell me if I'm wrong, that we want to have some clarification on what counselors do. We've heard that from counselors. In the focus groups that we did, counselors have said that some more clarification would be helpful. That doesn't mean tie your hands, but it means the clarification is needed, the conversation is needed, and we're having it, which I think is part of this. I want to say Wayne's point may be my favorite point today, which was we do need to look at all the positions in the BBP. I've written that down, and how are we thinking about the funding model around the positions that are current, and be thoughtful with the board around some possible ideas on that. So I think it's an excellent idea and one that we should pursue in the coming months.
It's on the 80-20, is that a work day, a work week, or a work year? So you could have a 2-week work period hammering test, but it averages out to.
Not to push our conversation again, but I know our board has to leave in about 10 minutes. So are there other thoughts, policies, issues that are on the minds of either task board members or state board members that would be good to throughout the discussion?
I guess I'd be interested, we kind of passed over the focus that what you're hearing, if anything, maybe that's the feedback from hearing not, but what you're hearing about focus.
I'll do between first
I'll
and
take it.
final reading though. I think you'll probably hear more, so please let us know what you're hearing. I like that. I think the key sticking points, and I still say overwhelmingly, the feedback has been positive in terms of liking what's in there, but the Tennessee history appropriately sort of plays in elementary and high school. Similarly, geography was a sticking point when they revised the standards last time. It would still be a bit of a sticking point, particularly for the Geographic Alliance. And others who really focus on geography, but is that embedding working for your teachers, or are there other sort of issues? I think the other thing that we heard from teachers was that the now current standards were really hard to manage with the time that they had for social studies, and so there was real intentionality to not taking out important things, but sort of paring back to be sure that they were foundational standards, not curricular standards. That meant kind of tightening in some places the number of standards at a very great level.
Last week, someone brought forward one of the committees a new bill in honor of the Henry to re-include Tennessee history and Tennessee geography. And I had to go to a meeting before that was over with. How did that end up? How does that impact these current social studies standards? We're going to have to go through this all over.
Yeah.
So this bill has morphed a couple times. It got killed in committee, it brought me back. There's been some changes on the House side that have not yet been mirrored on the Senate side. So there's still some miles to go before that bill sleeps. But right now, it's looking, I think, like at least on the House side, it's about 6 weeks to the study. If I'm wrong, anybody else knows more than I do. It's been changed about a minute, but we'll see.
As far as cost goes, our conversation around it has been, we don't think this history is bad, but the Tennessee history has been embedded throughout all the grades, which is also in the accountability model. So before you start moving pieces around, you need to compare to all those involved. And we kind of communicated that point. It's been pretty well received. I think now all the folks on the legislative side, the department's done a good job. Lots of folks having conversations around what the impact of this really means. It's not so much about the content as it is about where and how you embed. the right things are being talked about.
How about the uniform grading policy?
Back to this one, but we were mentioning this one before, and I was saying that our hands.
Should I leave it to one?
Yes.
No.
But on that one, again, you know, if there's been more conversation with sponsor of the bill that put dual enrollment AP in sort of the same way for the local training policy.
We told legislation this year. I think that'll probably take a groundswell and some folks make it very clear, folks that are in the advocacy role. To make it clear, make a legislative priority. That's where we are. Yes, there's discussion.
Looking at Dale, I mean, that's just something that we hear, I think some we hear too, that pretty much every week when that comes up in terms of AP being more rigorous than dual enrollment, and the fact that it's now in law that they are working the same with the local grading policy seems to be an issue that we hear lots of your legislation. No.
I like that word.
Well, I know the state board has to be across the street on time to start, and we don't want to hold that up. I just want to extend appreciation for everybody shifting schedules and making sure that this happens. Please share back with Sarah or I that these are productive and you'd like to do this, or that there's a lot of good work that's going on. And I will tell you this, that the parties involved, Nashville, department, the board, costs, we do a tremendous amount of communicating across the channels, both on the Hill and just in daily operations. So just make sure we have the right information. I think the right people are at the table, and I appreciate that.
I would concur. The only other thing I would say to close us out is in terms of opportunities for ongoing collaboration, we want to at least put that there as a sort of a pin mark in that, and Nathan can talk a little bit more. One of the things that we've been doing with our board members is what we call our days in the district. And so each one of our board members, at least once a year, we're helping to plan a day where they're meeting with legislators, they're meeting with superintendents, other educators, folks in the business community, touring schools, really having a day where they are fully sort of embracing their role as a state board member, which is a lay membership. They have most of them day jobs and other things, responsibilities, but that's important. If you'd be interested in hosting one of our members in your schools, and many of you have already, we would love to talk to Nathan. And then also, and Lily, I think, is sort of our model on this, but the superintendent study council meetings regionally, please let your state board members know when those are happening. Sometimes it's a little hard to know if they get moved, but I know most of our members, whenever they're able to attend, think they have found that to be a really valuable way to engage regionally. And I would just say, I know our board, Lily can jump in, wants to hear from superintendents, so it's an open line of communication, and the more we're talking, the better, I think, for everyone. And thank you to Katie who's left us, but this has been a lovely lunch. We're grateful for the space and the time.
Before you got here, Commissioner, I welcome everybody to the talk hall. Yes, it is lovely, and no, it's not our office. Well, guys, thank you all so very much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. We're headed to our office at 1:30. No, this is not our, and we don't have a break.